Now let's pivot to politics this morning because we are 29 days out and President Trump and Vice President Harris putting in the public appearances right now in this home stretch. Today, the former president will be speaking at a remembrance event marking the October 7th Hamas terror attack 1 year ago today. And tonight, the vice president will be kicking off a media blitz of her own. She is sitting down with 60 Minutes before doing 3 more interviews on Tuesday and a Univision town hall on Thursday. Let's bring in Ashley Davis, who is a White House official for President George W. Bush, and Fred Hicks, Democratic strategist and president of the Hicks Evaluation Group. Good morning to both of you. Vice President Harris, we've talked about this before. She's been criticized for largely avoiding interviews, but she has a lineup of them this week. And I wanted to play a bit of sound right off the top because she sat down with Alex Cooper of the wildly popular Call Her Daddy podcast. Take a quick listen.
Throughout this election, your identity has been called into question many times. Your opponent has called you crazy, weak, fake, and dumb. How does that affect you?
I think it's really important not to let other people define you. And usually those people who will attempt to do it don't know you.
Ashley, let me start with you on this one. This podcast was the second most popular on Spotify last year and the most listened to among women who this interview is clearly targeting. How much might this move the needle for her, you think?
Well, first of all, I think it's really good that she's getting out there and doing this media blitz. Hopefully the shows that she's picked, which she has every right to pick, that they ask her some of the tough questions that I think if there's any criticism about her that she's getting, that she's not answering kind of super policy discussion questions. But I think that she's doing super well with women. And obviously she's looking to continue to bring the so Pennsylvania, for example, which is my home state, the counties outside of Philadelphia, which have a lot of suburban women that can go Republican or they can go Democrat. And a lot of them are not happy with President Trump right now because of some of his rhetoric that was just brought up. However, they do care about the border and security. So there is some possibility for her to go on podcasts such as this to kind of target these women that are just tired of kind of the political rhetoric.
And I know Alex Cooper said she also reached out to Trump's team and he was not going to hop on. Fred, along with 60 Minutes, Vice President Harris will be sitting down with the ladies of The View on Tuesday, later on the Howard Stern show, and then also The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. These are mostly friendly outlets for her, right? So is there still some hesitation for her to take on tough questions?
Well, I think, like was just mentioned, it's her right to pick the outlets that she's using. The important thing to me is that she is making herself available and doing this media blitz. Listen, timing is everything. And in many states across the country, including like right here in Georgia, early in-person voting starts next week. And people say that she's a relatively unknown entity at this point versus, or when compared to Donald Trump. So the timing is everything, that she's doing these outlets that have a major reach and hit different segments, I think is very important. And it's also reflective of, to Alice's point, it's reflective of where she thinks she needs to go to get the most votes. Doing shows like the podcast, The View, things like that tells me that she's trying to grow that margin with women. And then, of course, doing something like Howard Stern that goes for the sort of stereotypical and on steroids man thing. So she's just trying to stem her losses there. But she sees women as her path to victory.
Let's talk about the Trump team and this weekend, what we saw, Tesla founder Elon Musk making waves when he spoke at President Trump's campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania over the weekend. Here's a bit of what he had to say there.
President Trump must win to preserve the Constitution. He must win to preserve democracy in America. Text people now. Now. And then make sure they actually do vote. If they don't, this will be the last election. That's my prediction.
Ashley, I'm just curious what you make of Musk's involvement in this campaign cycle, and will his backing really change anything for Trump?
Well, that was a little dramatic there. I do think that I'm from that part of the world. Yeah. I grew up about 30 minutes from there. And exactly what Fred was just saying earlier, the reason Trump's back there is because he needs counties like Butler County, Armstrong County, the surrounding areas. He needs that to win those counties by 70% to offset some of the other areas. So to kind of say what Kamala's doing in regards to where she's spending her time, Trump understands that he needs to spend his time somewhere like Butler. I do not. I do think that there's a huge following that Elon Musk has. So I understand that probably does help. The question in general is: do people like Taylor Swift's endorsement, Elon Musk's endorsement, or whoever it is, do they really matter at the end of the day? Do they really sway voters? And I'm not sure I believe that they do.
Yeah, I don't know many people who would see any of these endorsements and say, you know what, I wasn't sure, but now I am because of Taylor Swift and Elon Musk.
Right.
Fred, let me give you the last word here.
You know, one of the things that's really baffling to me is how the Trump-Vance ticket seems to consistently only focus on their base. They're really not doing anything and haven't done anything to try to reach across the aisle. And while on the other side of it, I think the inverse can be true, at least Democrats feel that way, that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are not spending as much time with their base, and they're making, as one person told me, a hard turn to the center and trying to pull people from the middle. So these are two diametrically opposed, opposite approaches to winning this election, and we're going to see in less than, we're right around 30 days, which one is right.
Yeah, two very different visions for the country. No doubt about it. I guess the only poll that matters is that on November 5th, so we'll see what the people decide. Fred Hicks, Ashley Davis, thank you so much as always. Appreciate your time on this Monday morning.